Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Merry Christmas to you, Gajul, Huvayola. That is Merry Christmas in Swedish and in Finnish, and I know my pronunciations are probably horrible, but Merry Christmas, friends. I wanted to come to you with one final Christmas card, and it's kind of a dark one, but I had to squeeze it in there somewhere, and I thought this, as my last card of the year, might be a fun time to do it. So I showed you the products that I'll be using, or at least considering using. I always bring in a few extra. So anyway, I'll have everything linked and listed downstairs per usual. And I just thank you guys for spending a little bit of time with me today. Oh, yes, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope everyone is doing well. I know we all celebrate a little bit differently, and some of us might be struggling. I know the holidays aren't quite as easy as most tend to believe that they are. But let me know downstairs how you're doing today, what you're feeling, how you celebrate, that kind of thing. If you need prayer, if you need someone to talk to, let me know. I'm here. Just send me a message, okay? All right, so let's get back to the card. So, this sweet, sweet little Santa hat is from, and again, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Gumiapan, Gumiapan.com. Gumiapan Dyes. It's a Swedish company. I placed an order through Sari's, Sari, I can't, Stamping Studio, Sari's Stamping Studio. But I went through my sweet friend Julia, who lives in Sweden, and so we've done that before. She'll order something from a US company and then I ship to her. And then this time I ordered something from a Swedish company and she shipped to me. And I actually have a video of that coming soon, me opening that box of Happy Mail because she's absolutely amazing. But she gave me this stamp that's on the screen right now, this Stamping Bella skeleton that I think is absolutely adorable. I love this line. I can't remember what they're called. Oddball, the Oddball line. Love them. I think I love them all. At least in this moment, I can't think of one that I've seen that I disliked. Anyway, back to the Santa hat and the other dies. So I got two that say Gajul, which is Merry Christmas in Swedish. And I got a couple stamps that say Hiava Jula, which is Merry Christmas in Finnish. And I am Swedish and Finnish. So thus the name Handy Scandy, if you were unaware. But yeah, so just having a good time playing with some new products, some new items from a free, sweet friend who I would love to go visit. Yeah, so you can see that I'm using my Arteza Everblends just to color him up. Very simple coloring. But let me tell you about the image that you see on top. So I used, I believe it was Memento ink, and sometimes, inks can stay wet a little bit longer than we might want. Now, we can always hit them with a heat tool. We can always heat emboss them. We can always just walk away and wait for time to dry it, right? But sometimes you can just blot it up with another piece of paper, a cheap piece of cardstock, copier paper, or something like that. Just put it on your image and just kind of blot up that excess ink. I have to say, though, that this took like 3 different blots until he was dry. I can't recall if I ended up hitting him with a heat tool or not, but in any case, however you do it, you want to make sure that your ink is dry before you start coloring because you will smear and smudge that black ink. So I left all of this fussy cutting in because something that I've not talked about before with fussy cutting is cutting away excess as you go. And I often do that. In fact, I'll say usually do that because it just makes it easier, right? You cut that extra bit off. You're not trying to wrangle that with your other hand. You're not trying to navigate around it. So yeah, so always hold your scissors still and move your image and cut off that excess as you go. It'll definitely make the process easier. So you saw my cup of coffee, my cup of cheer. I've got another one here next to me this morning, and I almost always have one. I tend to do my crafting either in the middle of the night or the very early morning. And right now it is 6 a.m. on Christmas morning as I do this voiceover. So, yeah, cup of cheer right here next to me. Now, the reason I'm taking my ink pad directly to this little frame is because it was gray, kind of a blue gray, which I don't mind a blue gray, but I wanted it black for this. And I actually found that frame in my stash and he fits perfectly. It's the perfect size to draw your attention from that big panel down to where you want, which is to your focal image. And so I just have him lifted up on a little bit of double-sided foam tape and some liquid glue because I always need that wiggle room. Excuse me. And of course, I've done the same thing with the Happy Christmas. Sorry, I needed some water. My mouth is really dry. I'm coming down with some kind of a cold or something. So I do apologize. I know my voice sounds raspy and I'm stuffy and all of that. So sorry. I did the sentiment up on some double-sided foam tape as well as the little hat. The little hat, I had to double it because I wanted it to be just a little bit higher than his head, and he's already lifted up once on the foam tape. So I put twice that on the little hat. I think the little hat is absolutely adorable on him. And you know what? I was gonna do hippopotamus, and do I want a hippopotamus for Christmas and put that little hat on the hippopotamus. Something like that can be used on just about any image you have. So obviously I've used some confetti from This Calls for Confetti, and that wraps it up. Simple card, actually. That background was one that I just dabbed up a bunch of watercolor paint a few weeks ago. Maybe a month, maybe November, sometime in November. Anyway, I just dabbed that up, and it's been sitting on my desk waiting to be used, so I was happy to be able to use it today. Everything else was self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, guys, let me know downstairs. And again, let me know how you're doing this Christmas morning, how you celebrate Christmas, and if you need anything. If I can help, I absolutely will. Until next time, guys, this has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Again, happy Christmas. Mwah! We'll see you next time.